guys, this is Targan coming at you with another game of Minecraft. Of course, it's mostly just going to be wheat. You know how it goes. You know what you signed up for. But we're just going to go over here, get some more seeds. Because we don't have enough seeds. That's something that'll happen to you if you're planting a totally reasonable amount of wheat. You will from time to time notice that you require more. That's what we'll do now. After the first very large part of the wheat field was built, then we finally set this part up. And I know I'm running over some parts that don't need to get knocked down, but just a few nice long lines will get you basically an inventory full of seeds. And like also wheat, which I mean theoretically you care about. Theoretically. Sometimes it matters. Hey Angelo, how are you? He said it's a nice field. Well, thank you. You know, most of the time the field doesn't have such reasonable straight lines. At this point in the wheat field, I thought what I was gonna do was flatten out the whole thing at this level, all the way to the place where the temple will be. But then after a bit, I was like, first of all, this is a lot of effort. And then also, you know, I was like, why am I not planting? I ran out of seeds in the line. You know, it's probably what, like 80 long, something like that. But when I got to around here, I was like, you know what? This is not the beauty of the wheat field principally and its variance, you know? And also, I was just like, man, this is taking a long time. And I said, you know what? We don't need to do all that. We can fulfill our goals more elegantly by planting wheat on the natural terrain. And that is how to use laziness for your own benefit. Very important. No, I'd meant to play something else today, but I kept on getting distracted. It was like the yeah, it's just gonna be wheat today. I kept getting distracted. It was like basically like the World Championships of Total War Warhammer 3. It's like, in my opinion, it's the same, but it's like a tournament put on by this caster Turin, the one who I'm always talking about for Total Warhammer. But I was watching that. Then I took a nap, and then I was watching more of that. You know, congratulations to the victor. I wish I played Total War multiplayer. I'd be so bad. I'd be so bad. I mean, I could do it. It'd be easy. But I just watched Total War Warhammer multiplayer. I'm like really bad at the campaign even. I don't even know if it would be fun for my opponent to beat me in multiplayer. I've never played a single game. I've played like 1,000 hours of the game and watched like 1,000 matches. Probably more than that. I've watched way more than I've played. Like, wait, no, we won't throw down the wheat. We'll throw down the inexplicable sticks. we're gonna pick up all the wheat seeds that were there, because, you know, you gotta be principled. You know, it's kind of funny, because like I'll want to play some game and I'm like, I don't know if I'm like in a you know, a proper mindset to play it, like, because I don't want to like do a bad job, if that makes any sense, which is like a very silly proposition, right? Because I'm so incredibly lazy and it's like very low effort stuff here, and you know, I've always acknowledged that. But it's like, if I'm feeling kind of like sleepy and lazy, it's like I can't, like, I feel like I shouldn't play a game that that I haven't played before, you know? Like, I don't want to waste my Hollow Knight gameplay for the first time on like a day where I don't feel up to it or whatever, which is kind of silly, because like, I, like many people, use video games to feel better. So it's like, am I really restricting myself from the thing that I like doing for entertainment value? I mean, I'm not really. It's more complex than that. Today I watched a video of a guy using Xray on a Minecraft server, but only mining coal, to see how long it takes to get banned. Interesting. Very interesting. I wonder what the conclusion was. Did they get banned pretty quick, or did they have a little bit of time? We're just gonna go plant some. We might mine a little bit more here in a bit, but we'll just go plant some. Of course, after you've grown a little bit of wheat, you do look at it as mining wheat whenever you go to get wheat seeds, right? Like, because it's a goal that you're doing identical to mining diamonds or coal. He said he did make it very obvious. It took a long time anyway. Well, you know, I'm sure that... You know, I haven't played on multiplayer servers, but I imagine they have both, like, sort of automated systems as well as, like, humans that are looking at it. And even if you were, like, you know, if you had, like, all your spreadsheets that was, you know, like, here's what's suspicious, you know, if anybody has this many diamonds per hour, you know, look at them. He even renamed them X-rayed coal. Yeah, see, and that almost seems like somebody would be doing a bit, right? And, you know... But no, that is pretty funny. That's a good premise. That's the kind of stuff that the world needs more of. And took them an hour to ban them. Well, I mean, I guess I don't know how fast one of those normally happens. An hour doesn't seem like a super long time to be getting away with a thing. I really gotta get some buckets to take care of that water. I did it to get the grass off of the hillside there, obviously. Very clearly is the reason why it's there. Angelo, I don't know, man. They just put it on there one day. I looked for a setting to get rid of it, but I think it only gets rid of it for me personally if I go to a stream. I guess it, like, gives people arbitrary amounts of experience for chatting. Anyway, I didn't try to make it happen, they just did it. But, yeah, there's some kind of setting where you should be able to opt out, I think. I don't know. But I think I found one for me, I just also don't remember how I was, like, annoyed about it whenever I was looking. As you might imagine, whenever, like, I'm very old man about my technology, I don't like things changing, like, user interfaces on me. I'll go through, like, pretty big hoops whenever I get mad about some change or another. Yeah, see, if I go to, like... I swear I did this, but, I'm looking at it again. But, like, I thought I said make it go away. I don't want it to be there. I'll look again, since I'm not doing anything anyway. Alright. Privacy. Yeah, it says turn off leaderboard participation, and it says that I have it toggled on. So yeah, I don't know what's up with it, man. I tried to turn it off. It doesn't, like, have a button to make it go away for me right now. But I thought I did, and I did click the button that makes it go away. Maybe I am misunderstanding it. Maybe it's turn this on to not disable it. But anyway, yeah, they just turned it on one day. And I sort of, I don't like it at all. Actually, I'm like, I'm very judgmental of structure that is designed to, like, keep people engaged, or especially to, like, try to keep people paying you, because that's, like, that's the undercurrent of it, right? Like, okay, you're getting people experience for chatting, so now they want to chat more, but also they get, like, more of that, like, if they pay you. But, you know, that's also paying the company. I don't want to talk too much trash about the people hosting my video, right? But, like, I didn't want to turn it on. I didn't, like, it wasn't like a button that I clicked for it. For those reasons, because I don't feel like it's good or responsible to try to, like, manipulate people into giving you their money. I don't think that's awesome. I don't think people should do it all the time. That's, you know, I know it's not, like, super brave to believe that, but you know, like, I don't love that, and I don't love that, like, that's basically, like, my take on that mechanic, and I will definitely try to get rid of it. I thought I did, but I definitely failed. They, every single time I make a stream, it gives me a pop-up. It's like, don't you want to do this? I'm like, no. Every single time that I do this, I tell you no, and every time you're like, okay, I'll ask you again. But, you know, it's alright. Viva la revolution. I mean, if you think about it, planting a bunch of wheat is a political act, as is the act of not giving other people your wheat. While there is a village near the wheat, do they ever eat it? I mean, like, only a couple of times ever. And now they just look at it. And whenever I walk around, I just say nice things about myself, and they have to deal with it. And sometimes there's a wandering trader trampling out the grain, and nobody ever knows what happens to him. Oh my goodness, speaking of, perhaps this person will just carry on with their business and leave my stuff alone. How I treat my villages? I think very well. You know, I think... in some TV shows, like... I watched a bunch of Star Trek growing up. But, like, they'll have, like, some, like, powerful alien being, you know, put people on trial for what they've done wrong. And I'm, like, imagining them putting me on trial for my video game crimes. And I'm like, but I never made an iron farm in Minecraft. Doesn't that count for something? And they're like, the baby penguin in Super Mario Brothers Nintendo 64. And I'm like, oh, no, not the penguin. They're really going to throw the book at me on this one. I've never built an iron farm, and most of the time, I only take all of their wheat. That's what heroes do. They just get wheat. You know, it's like a tribute that people give. You know, so that you can get it. You know, yeah. Like, we need a backdrop of the wheat, and like, so anyway, in Kropotkin's The Conquest of Bread. You said throwing the Terraria guide in lava is not the worst, oh no. Yeah, I guess the first time in Terraria that I dropped the doll into lava, that was a total accident, you know, I hit a demon that dropped it or whatever. The next time was on purpose. I don't know about this guy. I think we might have to... Looks like his leads are broken on the llamas. Interesting. I don't... I mean, look at... Alright, so, as we were saying, sometimes you have to do what's necessary to protect your wheat field. People will walk all over it if you let them. You're on a challenge to collect and display all the items. You're on 322 out of 5455. Well, that is a lot of items. That'll give you plenty of time. I have a problem doing stuff like that, where it's like, you know, I start out wanting to catch them all, and then I get bored. I'm like, do I really need the last 3 Pokemon? I don't care. Like, I'm strongly motivated by, like, the mechanic of collecting a bunch of stuff, and then it's like I'll just one day wake up and be playing the same game as always, and then I'll be like, why am I doing this, you know? Like, why am I even planting wheat? I don't know, that might not happen. I know why I'm planting wheat. It's the love of the game. Find a lot of cool things you passed, yeah. I need to play Terraria again, but just turn it off every time the inventory annoys me. Just like not stream it, just like do a video, like a nice 4-minute video, and then turn it off whenever the inventory annoys me. Saying there's a magic book on that shows you actually have to look to find. Well, that rules me out. You know, I used to be, like, attentive and thoughtful as a gamer, but over time, like everybody else, I became a product of the modern age. Nah. I mean, like, I could still do it if I had to. I used to play, like, point-and-click adventure games where you had to really, you know, really pay attention. But I don't miss them. This is better. Getting to plant wheat, it's just better. So much better than paying attention. Hello, Geode. You're eating ice cream at 12:49? Nice. That might be crazy to you, but as an adult, I do that all the time. I'm a cook, right? So, like, I don't get home sometimes till 11:30 sometimes, but usually not that late. My restaurant doesn't stay open that late. But, so, you know, I'll regularly have some nice midnight 30 ice cream. It's delicious. Well, good for you. I'm sure you can now appreciate the wonders life has in store. I was working with this guy, and he's like, you know, he got paid, he went and he bought donuts. He's like, wait, you can buy like a lot of donuts. I'm like, yeah, dude. It's like, why did I think they were expensive? I'm like, I don't know, you can just get like so many donuts. If you want to spend $5 on donuts, you can have too many donuts to eat. It's nice. Hopefully he will use that knowledge to bring me a donut. I'm only joking. He should keep his money for himself. If I want a donut, I'll make one. My favorite donut is the blueberry old-fashioned cake donut. I think it is the most superior of all donuts. I love them so much. Normally, I'm not much of one for berries, but I love blueberry old-fashioned donuts. There's a donut shop just like right down the street from my house, but I don't go there all the time on account of how it would require leaving my house. And you know, if I want to eat something, what I don't want to do is have to go anywhere. Cookies and cream, nice. Yeah, for ice cream flavors, the one that I usually get is like it's like a raspberry sorbet, which I know isn't technically ice cream, but it's ice cream adjacent. But I don't always have ice cream. Right now, I'm in a phase where I'm trying to eat less store-bought snacks, so I started making food again. But I've been just chowing down on my peanut butter fudge that I make. But I gotta make some more. I finished it. Angela, I don't know. Some people don't like donuts, I guess. Most, look, it's not super easy to make them right. You know, stuff like oil temperature being just right and stuff is important, and, you know, they're like, you know, the dough's not automatic, but if somebody, like, sets out to do it, they should be able to make a great donut, though. They're not, like, super delicate to do. It's possible that you don't like them. There's also, I mean, there's a lot of different ways to make them. You say I'm the Homer Simpson of YouTube. This is actually, it may not be the first time I've talked about donuts, but they're not like, we don't like always talk about donuts here. As you may note from the bookshelves, I'm not exactly a Homer Simpson guy, although that's funny. That may be the first time anyone's ever compared me to him. I've never really ever watched The Simpsons, although I am familiar with it, and like I'm aware. I wasn't allowed to watch it whenever I was growing up. And then like South Park happened, and I wasn't allowed to watch that either, but I was old enough to ignore that I wasn't allowed to watch it, unlike with The Simpsons, so. Face reveal, I'm just Homer Simpson. Go! No, I don't think I've seen a whole episode of The Simpsons in a row, but I've seen like a whole bunch of clips. and I've thought some of them were uproariously funny. And I have watched a whole video about the world record progression of Simpsons Hit and Run by Summoning Salt, who's awesome. You've all probably heard of him. He's not some minor figure. But anyway, if you haven't watched that video, it's a good watch. Like all of Salt's videos, you leave with an appreciation of a game that you didn't know anything about, unless you knew a lot about it. And then you're like, wow, what a good video. I like his videos anyway. Deadpool was interesting. Almost like more interesting that it ever got made than interesting as a film itself. It's like Deadpool's a movie that makes you sound like real art, like a real uppercase art person when you start talking about it, because it's like Deadpool by itself doesn't make sense. You have to look at it in the context of superhero movies, you know. It would be deeply strange and sort of like incomprehensible if you didn't have all of the reference material for like what is expected behavior in the genre. So like it simultaneously sort of like plays it straight as a movie in the genre and like could only exist as a response to it. Very interesting movies, very weird character. Very art, which is like, it's really like, I think why a lot of people like Deadpool, especially like the big comic nerds, is because it's sort of because of that metatextual narrative element to it. It feels like it's a big joke and you're in on it. Which is a fun feeling, you know. If you listen to like or you know, you're reading a satire of like a fantasy novel and you understand like all the things that wizards are normally like, then you know it's easy for them to make fun of it maybe, you know. But if you've never seen The Lord of the Rings, then I guess the best comparison would be like the Scary Movie series and horror films, where Deadpool is just like incredibly self-aware about what is expected narratively and like aesthetically in any of these given moments, and then they get to play off of your expectations of that, and which is a trick you can only pull so many times. Like watch the anime comedy show about a guy who's born with no magic in a wizarding world, though. That's fun. He just uses his superior strength to make them all think that he's got it. That's awesome. I had this idea for like a short story or like a frustratingly short video game that I never actually wrote like any of, but the idea is like, you know, that like this kid, you know, they're born with some sort of magical abilities, and the world frowns on magic or whatever, but the problem is, you know, that she's like not very good at magic, but she doesn't know that she's not very good at magic because magic's so frowned on that, like, you know, it's all there. So she thinks she's like gonna be like this awesome wizard, but she can only like barely do it, right? But there's no one to teach her, like there's no mentor, and then she just goes around, and then, you know, like I think at the end, you know, like she like gets hit over the head by somebody and drowns in a river. I didn't work on, you know, the end of it. Like I said, I didn't write any of it at all. But like, I liked the idea of this person who could literally do magic, but the magic was just like not good at being magic. Like one part she'll get like thrown into a jail cell and she'll like use magic to drill out like an auger, but like if she just had like a literal like tool and like a screwdriver and a hammer, it would be better than having magic. That type of thing. Like magic's useless, but they're still very afraid of it. And then sort of, you know, the idea would be that you would never know in the story if this person was the best wizard ever or not, you know, like maybe that's as good as magic ever was and people's ignorance kept away from it, or, you know, maybe not. Like I said, there's a lot of work to be done. Since I didn't write literally any of it at all I had was the concept, which was basically born out of conversations like this one. Like, what if magic but bad? They made one of Dumbledore saying, if you don't study, you shall not pass. Ah, well, I hate that too. But yeah, but like the initial idea was like, you know, like a sort of like duo, like, you know, like a Shrek comedy thing, you know, but not the comedy, and not really like Shrek at all. But like one person would be like, you know, the wizard's like best friend, and they would, you know, be like much more put together and like, you know, common sense, you know, they would be the straight man to the comic ineptitude of the wizard. Probably, you know, the straight man's just like the name of the concept of the person who doesn't realize that they're in a comedy, right? But it in Lord of the Rings, yes, they always do talk about it. But, you know, that is a realistic thing. If you read like memoirs of like soldiers in historical wars and stuff, often they will like barely write about a battle like at all, and then they will like recall in great detail meals that they had, because of course one thing is pleasant to remember. But yes, we all do indeed need second breakfast. But they are the hobbitses. They are known to like food a lot. I love halflings, they're great. My first character in Baldur's Gate 3 was a halfling. She was a halfling bard, but only one level in bard, so she could be a musician, and all the rest, she was a Beastmaster Ranger, and she had a pet bear, and, you know, she got in adventures. It was a good run. Man, I loved Baldur's Gate. One of the coolest games I've ever played. Maybe the coolest game I've ever played. I keep meaning to go back and do videos on it for the internet here, but it's like, I've already played it. And there's so much, like, in a game with a story, like, how good can your analysis be if you've already experienced it, you know, like, what's your critical role after 250 hours? I mean, I guess I could make like an actual video about it, but that would require effort, and y'all know I am super lazy. As you can tell by looking at this field, the project of a lazy person. No, I'm just very focused. Well, that's not true, is it? Reasonably focused. Salted pork. Yes. The field of a person who can't be dedicated. Well, you know, I have been planting this field for a long time. So the very first wheat video would have been like 11 months ago. Which it might have been the most important video I ever made. I am displeased. Alright, these animals have got to go. Oh no, it takes forever. I hate everything. Alright, now everything is better. We're just gonna throw all that there, and then it'll hopefully throw it to the bottom where we won't look. That'll be exactly the same as reasonable behavior. But no, you know, food is very important, and travelers and soldiers are known to think more about it than most other things. Which, even if you've not gone on an adventure to save Middle-earth and it's just like a long hike, then it's like standards change, right? You know, like what's a long hike to one person is not that long to another. But if you've ever walked like 20 miles in a day with a pack, then you know exactly why those guys in Tolkien talked about food all the time. Of course, the hobbits ate that much without walking anywhere, but for the 4th of July, you went on a camping trip and left with 24 mosquito bites at your legs. You can count your mosquito bites? Well, I hope you had a good time. Normally a person wouldn't count their mosquito bites. Oh man, I wish I could count the amount of mosquitoes that had bitten me. No, I went camping and hiking and stuff a lot whenever I was growing up. I don't really do it much anymore. I prefer to be comfortable, you know. I don't know what temperature it is outside. I'll look it up real quick so I don't lie to you. It's probably like 80 degrees. It is 82 degrees outside, which is 28 degrees Celsius, I think. So that's what it is right now at midnight here. So like, if you want me to go camping right now, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be outside. It's not right. But yeah, you know, because it's you know, like it's hotter than that in the daytime, but it's midnight and it's still 82, and yeah. Old man complaining about the weather again. I know. Yeah, Fahrenheit. I think in Fahrenheit, but I am aware that it's like a silly scale, right? I mean, Celsius just, like, for one, it's got breakpoints, and then, like, each, like, decimal point in it is good, too, you know? 0's freezing, 10 is cold, 20 is cool, 30 is warm, and 40 is pretty dang hot. But, yeah, you will at least sympathize that I live in Arkansas, and it is very, very humid here. Like, I grew up with no houses between my house and the bayou. A bayou is like a charming swamp that the French named once. But yeah, whenever I was a kid, there were no houses between my house and the bayou. I don't live super far away from my childhood home, but it's not like down the road from me or anything anymore. But the mosquitoes, they'd be rough, man. And you know, I had to like milk a goat in the morning and stuff, and so there were always outside chores to do. And the phrase we use is getting eaten alive by mosquitoes, and it certainly always felt that way. I remember enjoying the winter greatly because the bugs died down. Yeah, so yeah, 30 Fahrenheit is just under freezing, so that'd be 0 Celsius. 17 Celsius, I think 20 Celsius is like 38 degrees Fahrenheit, so that'd probably be like 60 or something. I basically have to convert them every single time. But like, because, you know, like I took chemistry classes and stuff, so like I know what a gram and a milliliter is, and I'm used to thinking in Celsius when I'm doing like a lab. But whenever I think about like the temperature of the air or of like the water in a cup, like that to me, that's like not a thing that I would ever in my normal life measure in Celsius. Like the only stuff I ever think of in Celsius is science class type stuff, or like kilometers. Like I know what that is, but I don't think in those terms at all. I know what a kilogram is, but like when someone says I weigh 70 kilograms, I have to multiply it by 2.2 to figure out how many pounds they are every time. I mean, all that said, it's very clear to everyone, I hope, that the decimal systems of metric are better, in addition to the fact that, you know, it's more useful. What kinds of diseases are mosquitoes possess? Oh, not tons of bad ones anymore. I would have to look it up. You basically never expect to get a disease from them. It can happen, but it's not common around here anyway. You know, there's not like anopheles, like with like malaria and stuff. I don't think we have any of those. Like in the U.S., I don't think. But, yeah, you'd certainly... I'd have to look it up, which I'm not going to do now. But, yeah, you would never expect to, like, grow ill after being bitten by a mosquito or something. It would be like, if you were bitten by a lot of them, it would irritate your skin, you know, type of thing. There's some, like, what we would consider sort of, like, rare diseases that they could theoretically carry. I don't think the ones in Arkansas would be likely to get them, though. You'd expect it to be more of a Florida thing. But yeah, no, mosquitoes are just like, they're an inconvenience. Basically, you know, like, obviously, you know, they hurt and stuff, but like, principally, you would never be like, oh, I feel worried because I've been bitten by mosquitoes. It's like, this is incredibly annoying. I wish they would stop eating me. Oh, yeah. Oh, for perspective, yes. It's also 79% humidity. So, like, which I know, like, is not the highest it can be, but that's what it is right now at midnight 17, is 79% humidity and an 82 degrees Fahrenheit. It does not feel good outside, dude. It does not feel good. No, yeah, I'm sure that you have more dangerous mosquitoes than us, no doubt. I had never thought of ours as being dangerous, only incredibly annoying. The real danger is in hitting yourself in the jaw or the ear when you're trying to smack at them. I have definitely clocked myself trying to get a mosquito. Or of one of your friends being like, hold still, and you never know what they're gonna hit on you. You know, it's... You kind of wonder what the mosquitoes would say about us. Delicious would recommend, you know? Or they sit around talking trash about the taste of the mosquito repellent. But anyway, I'm sorry about you getting eaten alive. I'm glad the mosquitoes left a little bit of you. Yeah, no, camping can be fun, but oh man, this time of year, not for me. I normally don't go camping just because I don't like to be inconvenienced. I get nervous traveling and stuff. So it's like, I don't like doing the mental labor of like making sure everything's gonna be fine and whatever. But the actual of, like, laying on the ground and cooking your food over a fire and stuff, like, totally down. I was in the Boy Scouts growing up, so, like, I have a bunch of experience doing that kind of thing. But, man, this time of year, no thanks. My family, whenever I grew up, we always vacationed. We always camped in the summer. And at this lake in Arkansas called Greers Ferry Lake. We just called it the lake. But it's just so hot, and then, like, you know, I remember, like, at one point we finally, like, we got, like, the campsites that had, like, an electrical box, you know, at there, so you could get, like, extension cords and have, like, a box fan in your tent. So that was pretty cool. And then, like, at some point my family got, like, a camper that they went in, but, like, it wasn't... I have a big family, right? So, like, I didn't get to sleep in the camper. You could, like, sort of hang out in there in the middle of the day, kind of, if you didn't annoy my mother, you know? But, it was, like, for mom and dad and, like, for, like, the young children. So, like, even with the AC just, like, 10 feet away, you know, I'm still out there sleeping in the heat. But you know, they say if you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. But, like, I work in a kitchen, and I live here, so, like, maybe I need to change my whole life. Stop going to work and stop going to Arkansas. Oh yeah, good progress. Sort of left that part undone, which isn't ideal, but it'll be fine. Beautiful. Soon enough, the wheat will be done. And then where will I be? I'll have to build the Temple of Wheat, or just plant some more somewhere else, and pretend like I didn't remember that I said I was gonna build that thing. You know, even though I planted it myself, I do have to say it's a good wheat field. I mean, there could be more. It's not like... I can imagine a bigger wheat field. And I think, like, when we're right here and showing it off, I think people do imagine a bigger wheat field, right? Like, they're like, oh man, I bet it goes on forever in both directions. But they're wrong, you know? Like, to my shame, it does not. But as I sit here, I'm like, man, we could totally just grow this whole savanna over in this section too. That could be wheat. You know, but first things first. And that's that. It's time to end the video. The hour grows late, even though it's still super hot outside. It's time for me to call it. Yes, the steady contamination of the wheat biome. The Terraria-style creep of wheat across the whole universe. Soon, just wheat. Just wheat. But, I'm glad your summer is sort of manageable, Angelo, but of course it is your your winter now due to what the axial tilt of the planet. That's right. It's not because it's further away. That's stupid. Sorry. If you believe that it's because it's further away, that's not. I'm not. Anyway. I think the technical thing, so like the Earth is wobbly, right? And that's why the seasons happen. It's not like because of Persephone. I can't prove it though. It could all be Hades' fault. But anyway, whether or not the Earth is actually tilted in your direction, I wish you a good evening or morning, depending on whether or not the Earth is rotating. Some people think it doesn't rotate at all, but actually the sun is kept in a miniature like a thimble, and then the Earth is sort of like broadcast at it, as if like the stars are a projector. But I can't prove that. I can't prove anything. I'm not like a scientist or a mathematician. I'm just a wheat farmer, and that's all I've got for you right now. Good night, everyone. Good night, Angelo. Appreciate you hanging out. Good night, Geode, if you're here. Good night, everyone. And yeah, maybe I'll see you in another streamer video. You're wearing your aluminum hat. Well, that's good. It'll protect you from harm. Good night.